Morning, friends. My name is Joan. I'm from the Haverhill Public Library, and today I'm going to read you A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. Time to move, thought Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the ocean floor. But it was frightening out in the open ocean without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new shell soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so, well, plain. Do you guys think it looks plain? Should he find something to decorate it with? In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed back and forth in the water. "How beautiful you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come live on my shell? It's so plain and it really needs you." "I'll come," whispered a small sea anemone, and gently Hermit Crab picked her up and put her on his shell. Then, in April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the ocean floor. "How handsome you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come decorate my house?" "I would," signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked up the little sea star and put him on his shell. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "How pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked the crusty coral. Gently, Hermit Crab picked him up and put him on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came upon a group of snails crawling all over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, and he was very impressed with how hard-working they all were. "Would one of you be willing to come and keep my house clean?" he asked. "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. There they are. Would you guys like somebody to help keep your house clean? I would. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," cried one of the sea urchins. And very gratefully, Hermit Crab picked him up and put him on his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark in here," thought Hermit Crab. "And dim," said sea anemone, "and gloomy," said starfish, "and murky," said the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, said the sea urchin. Oh my goodness, look how dark it must have been in there. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. How bright you are, he said. Would one of you be willing to come light up my house? I would, replied one of the lanternfish, and he swam over near his shell. Look at him. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. How sturdy you are, he said. Would you mind if I rearranged you a little? Not at all, said the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, said Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed just a little bit too small. Little by little over the year, he had grown. So he would have to find another, bigger shell. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like family. How can I ever leave them? Oh dear, he's worried about all of his little friends. What do you think he should do? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I have outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, said Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to look after all my friends. I promise, said the little crab. Isn't that nice? They get to have a new house. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. He spied the perfect house, a big, empty shell. It looked a little plain, but sponges, he thought, and barnacles, clownfish and sand dollars, eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. The end. That was one of my favorite books, and I wanted to show you guys how you could make a hermit crab puppet. You don't need very much. Just a paper plate. You make a big swirl on it in the middle, just like a crab has. Then you can tape on a popsicle stick in the back, and then you can decorate it with anything you have. I had some stickers and some pom-poms and a flower and some ribbon, but you can use anything you have. And then you can be a hermit crab going along the ocean floor, just like in Eric Carle's book. I hope you guys had fun. I'll see you later. Bye.